Hi there, Luke here with another video. For those of you unfamiliar with our channel, my husband Tyler and I make weekly travel videos where we document our experiences since moving from North America to the UK. If you've been following this travel series, you'll know that we had been traveling around Spain, mostly overland by public transport, but at the end of this particular journey, we were traveling by car around northern Spain. If you enjoy these videos, please do consider giving a comment, like, subscribe, and if you're so inclined to leave a tip with the super thanks button. It's always super appreciated and does help support this channel. In our last video, we continued our road trip through Navarra and Aragon in northern Spain, as well as some of the natural beauty areas of Catalonia. And after our time in northern Spain, we drove through Zaragoza on our way to Madrid. Little did we know that Zaragoza is actually Spain's 5th largest city and has a number of tourist attractions to offer. The first one that we want to highlight is the Basílica de Nuestra Señora del Pilar, which is a very beautiful church and a nice place to start exploring Zaragoza. Another must-see attraction in Zaragoza is taking an elevator up to the top of the Torre del Pilar, which offers really nice panoramic views of the city. Once we were finished enjoying the great views, we proceeded back into Pilar Square, which is a really nice outdoor space to enjoy the vibe of Zaragoza, with the beautiful buildings, as well as a really distinctive and really beautiful fountain, which I have to say is one of my favorite fountains in any of the cities that I've visited. It was just such a cool mix of modern art with the natural features of a fountain. Another spot in Zaragoza that I would definitely recommend visiting is the Catedral del Salvador de Zaragoza, which is known for its beautiful architecture and is definitely worth a visit. The following day, we woke up in our accommodation in Zaragoza and we headed to another tourist attraction in the city, which was Aljafería Palace. And this is a fortified medieval palace that was built during the second half of the 11th century. The Aljafería is one of 3 best examples of Hispano-Muslim architecture in Spain, and even has special legal protection from the government. And if you're wondering what the other 2 are, they are the Mosque Cathedral of Córdoba, as well as the Alhambra, which I actually featured in some of our earlier videos, so do check out the links in the description to check out what we did in those regions, because those are definitely worth visiting too. I have to say all 3 of these were really great to see, and all 3 I would personally recommend, because they all had something unique and distinctive and special in terms of the history and architecture. In 2001, the original restored structures of the Aljafería were included in the Mudéjar Architecture of Aragon, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It's also worth mentioning that the Aljafería currently houses the Cortes, which is the regional parliament of the autonomous community of Aragon. Moving on now to Madrid. Before I dive into what we actually did in Madrid, I do kind of want to just briefly mention that I did feel like our time in Madrid was short and a bit disjointed, especially considering we had done a little bit of Madrid before our road trip and a little bit after our road trip, and I just didn't feel like I left with a real sense of what the city has to offer, especially as when you look at it all together, we really only had 1 full day there, which really isn't enough time to really appreciate a city the size that Madrid is. With that said though, let's talk about the things that we did do in Madrid and that we enjoyed doing. First of all, we headed to the Royal Palace of Madrid, which has some really nice gardens to walk around and is just nice to see the main attraction attraction of this area, which is the official residence of the Spanish royal family. Another spot worth visiting in Madrid is visiting the stunning Plaza Mayor. A final place that we want to highlight and feel we have to mention is, because it is mentioned in every tourist guidebook, is visiting the Prado Museum, which is Madrid's main art museum, and particularly has the most comprehensive collection of Spanish paintings, as well as some other European paintings, notably Italian and Flemish art. I should say that we are definitely not art aficionados, so we are not the best judge of what makes a really good or really bad art museum. So if you are someone who really enjoys art, do keep that in mind. But I do have to say that just from our point of view, we think that the Prado Museum is a bit overhyped, especially if you've been to other museums in Europe, particularly ones in France. We found that the museum was pretty standard and didn't really find anything that was particularly distinctive or interesting about it, especially if your interests are in a diverse range of art, where we found that a lot of the art was quite similar. And another thing that just really annoys us is when you're spending that price for a museum and they are so restrictive in terms of taking pictures and video. And they really are quite restrictive. We did manage to sneak a couple videos and photos, but there were people everywhere checking on you taking photos and stuff. And I just think when you're visiting such a major tourist attraction and spending that much money to visit it, you should be allowed to take photos and videos. So it honestly left a bit of a sour taste in our mouth. And while we enjoyed it, I can't say that I would visit it again. So in summary, we enjoyed our time in Madrid, but I definitely feel like we barely even scratched the surface. There is probably a lot more to see and do in Madrid that we did not get the opportunity to do, and so we definitely want to return. That is the very end of our video series in Spain, and it is hard to believe considering we saw so many amazing things in this awesome country. I hope that you enjoyed tagging along for the ride, and I hope that you stay tuned for the next portion of our Eurotrip 2021 travel series, and that was going to Portugal. Specifically, I'm going to take you through our journey from Madrid to Lisbon by bus. So stay tuned for that. See you at the next one. Bye!